Summer routines live or die by how easy they are, and honestly, if something takes too much effort, I'm out. That's why Groones is my go-to. It's my one daily pack of gummies covering my greens, vitamins, and minerals. Plus, it has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, which is more than 2 cups of broccoli. No mixing powders, no giant pills, no hassle. I just rip open the pack and I'm done. They taste good and they make it easy to stay on top of my health, even when life gets busy. Save up to 52% with the code PODCAST at groones.co. That's code PODCAST at gruns.co.
It's the Go Gopher Podcast with Mike Grimm, episode number 221. I am Mike Grimm, voice of the Golden Gophers, and welcome back to our podcast. We're talking Golden Gopher Track and Field, which completed an incredible Big Ten championship meet last weekend in Lincoln, Nebraska. Several individual championships, as well as a number 2 finish for the Gopher men. We now look ahead to next week's NCAA Regional in Arkansas as well, and head coach Matt Bingle returns to the Go Gopher Podcast to give us a breakdown and a preview. A lot to talk about with a lot of success. I know you'll enjoy it, so stick around. Our Go Gopher Podcast is presented by alumni-owned Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're a business founder planning to exit your business, start by contacting Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. Sunbelt serves more businesses up to $5 million in revenue than anyone, and True North M&A serves companies with revenues up to $150 million. Get a confidential, no-cost, no-obligation business valuation started today. Hey, make the most of your life's work. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com today. Longtime Gopher sports supporter Cub is a proud sponsor of the Go Gopher Podcast with Mike Grimm. In a hurry, don't worry, Cub delivers. Get fresh meat, produce, everyday essentials, and more delivered to your door. Cub is the official grocer of the Golden Gophers and proud to support Gopher athletics for over 20 years. Shop happy. The Go Gopher Podcast is also presented by onX Maps. Find out how to download the onX Fish app for free by listening to the Go Gopher Podcast. And this week, we want to welcome brand new sponsor, Great Clips, to the Go Gopher Podcast. We appreciate Great Clips' support of our show and want to thank all of you listeners for making the show attractive for great people like Great Clips to come on board. Great Clips, get in, get out, look great. We'll talk more about Great Clips later in the podcast. We're podcasting episode 221 from the Aquarius Home Services studio. We invite you to subscribe or follow the Go Gopher Podcast. It's free to do so. You can also go back and listen to the Go Gopher Podcast from previous weeks. Last episode, for example, we talked Golden Gopher baseball with catcher Weber Niels of Cottage Grove. He came on the podcast last week and was named All-Conference First Team just a week later. He has a great story to tell, so if you missed the show, go back and have a listen. This week, we're talking track and field with Golden Gopher head coach Matt Bingle, who will join me next.
I'm Clay Geary, walk-on turned scholarship wide receiver for Gopher football.
And I'm Ben Utek, U of M alumni, Super Bowl champion, and Tony Dungy Uncommon Award winner.
We understand championship culture, which is why we're part of the True North family of companies.
True North invests in only elite teams, like the champion team at Sunbelt Business Advisors, Minnesota's largest seller of companies. To learn more about True North and our diverse family of independently owned companies, visit TrueNorthEquityPartners.com.
This is Jim Suhan for TSR Injury Law, 612 TSR time. TSR Injury Law started off as a small business. They are now a large, very successful business because they help people, because they win cases. If you are injured, call 612 TSR time. They will help you out or point you in the right direction. They will not charge you unless they win your case, and they win a lot of cases. We don't want you to need their help. They don't want you to need their help. But if you do need their help, call 612 TSR time.
It's episode 221. We're talking Gopher track and field. Matt Bingle's the head coach, a return guest, and we talk this time of year often because it's an exciting time of year. Coach, good to see you as always.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
You're coming off of Big Tens last week, which was at the University of Nebraska. The men finished second. The Gopher women finished sixth. Next week, you've got NCAA Regionals, and then down the road, hopefully some NCAA championship opportunities as well. Generally, how'd you feel your two teams competed down in Cornhusker land last week, finishing second and sixth?
I thought they did great, going into the meet. We wanted both teams to be around that 80-point total is what we thought we could do, and they both were right there at that. And then men, we were trying to be top 3, and then make a push, and then women were trying to be top 6. So they hit the goal and had a lot of great performances. It was just a great team weekend. It almost felt like a family vacation. Yeah. So the kids were so into each other. So much fun, a lot of laughing, competed great, fed off of each other. We were definitely different than a lot of teams there, and so it was kind of sad that it was over.
Yeah. In regard to that, just generally, as you build a team, track is a little like wrestling. It's a little like some other sports where it's totally an individual sport. Barring relays, obviously, there becomes a team aspect to that. But yet there's a team score kept as well. How important is it for you, and maybe it's not important to other programs, I'm guessing it is for you. You mentioned the family atmosphere to within an individual sport, build a team atmosphere, a team chemistry, a team that everyone's competing for the same cause.
Yeah, it's something that's super important to the coaching staff. I came in under Coach Wilson initially, when I first got here, and that was something that was important to him, and I just built off of what he had in place and continue to make it grow. And then now that the men and women are together, since 2018, it's just gotten even stronger, and it's something that we commit to year long. We always are doing something, whether it's just having a team meeting and doing some games with each other, or breaking the team down into small groups. We have the base camp in the basement here in Bierman Athletic Building, and that's a team room as well. And so everything we do on a weekly basis, when we travel, everything is about trying to bring everybody together and knowing that we're stronger together.
With that as well, and we'll talk more specific about athletes and such, you have a roster, we talked about this when you were on the last time, that is a pretty good blend. You have international students, you have kids from all over the U.S., obviously kids here from Minnesota. Does that create a bigger challenge to create a team atmosphere, or does that actually help the melting pot, so to speak, build a team atmosphere when you have a diverse roster like you guys do?
I think anytime you have diversity in any way, it creates power. And I always tell when we recruit and when we are talking to the team, our biggest strength is our diversity. And so it's something that it makes us great. I absolutely love it, and the kids love it because we learn so much. We laugh so much just at each other, because one of the best things is laughing at each other, whether it's your own family or it's on your team at work, wherever. And so we try to do that well, and just enjoy each other's uniqueness, because we got a lot of uniqueness,
Which is good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm always, it's funny to watch. It is funny it's kind of like watching your kids at home. You watch them interact with each other and you're just kind of laughing, just because they're just being so unique and funny. That's what every day of my life is like.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that is a good attitude too. You got to have, stop and smell the coffee sometimes, right? And enjoy it. If you're not taking the times to enjoy fellowship and company and off the track time, then you're missing the boat a little bit, right?
Oh yeah, you don't. I think college athletics is becoming more business-like, and we're fighting that all the time with all the things that we try to do for our team and try to stay connected with each other. And I know a big thing we talked about this weekend was just be stupid. We're going to just be stupid. That was one of the things going into Sunday was, hey, tomorrow, let's be stupid. Let's do it our way, and show them what we got, and we came out on Sunday and competed great, and so we're always about being that way. Don't take yourself too serious.
It's funny, the Gopher women's basketball team made the Sweet 16 for the first time in a long time and had a nice run. And that was kind of what they talked about. Be silly, have some fun. And they smile on the court. And even in a highly competitive NCAA game, I think for some it was counterintuitive to see these athletes that are highly skilled smiling a little bit during competition. Like, well, do they care? Do they not care? And just because you're smiling doesn't mean you don't care. It just means that's part of your approach, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. We talk about that all the time. Like just because that's how we are in practice. we are celebrating each other in practice, or, encouraging each other and being stupid. And so I've always said, as long as you get the job done, once you step on the track, or in the ring or whatever, then as long as you can compete well, then, that's fine with me if we want to have fun, enjoy each other. I think smiling and being happy is something that all kids should be doing. When you watch a lot of sports these days, it's too serious. They don't act like they're having fun, And even this past weekend, I had a lot of coaches coming up to me and saying, "Man, you guys have fun. You guys are different," and that's super important. We always talk about being different, weird, unique, and being ourselves.
Yeah, and have that joy in competition and with each other, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah. You want to enjoy each other. We have to, because it's a lot of work.
How rewarding is it for you, too, to have teams contending, competing, being very well? Because, we know there are some challenges in terms of what the Gophers have to contend with. I mean, you're looking at an Oregon team that has, lots of money, budget, facilities. Now, you do have a new track out back, although it's relatively new. The time flies. How old is that now? 5 or 6 years old now,
I think it was 18, the fall of 18.
So 8 years old, but
I think it was.
Still one of the newer facilities. But you have some of those things. But how proud are you of the fact that you've pieced together and put together and recruited in different areas of the world and the globe and the state to continue to have a highly competitive men's and women's program here?
No, I'm very proud of our coaching staff and our student athletes. They a lot of the kids on our team have overcome a lot, and it makes me proud to watch them work and work together to get to this point, and overcome a lot of teams that may have different funding, better facilities. Even they may start with an athlete like in basketball, they say like a 5-star or something like that. They may start with those types of kids, but our kids continue to work, our coaches continue to work, and our kids just keep getting better, and so, and a lot of those kids are beating those kids that were quote the superstar coming out of high school, and so we take a lot of, and that's the way our program has always been. When Coach Guriak, Coach Lundeen, Coach Wilson, all those guys were here, it was built on taking a lot of kids that we saw something in and seeing them develop as young men and women, and then just as athletes on the track.
I think a year ago at this time, we're talking about that you were purposeful in constructing the roster. I think a couple of years ago, you had some red shirts just to kind of ramp some stuff up. Throws and sprints were part of the focus, and it looks like at least certainly really on both sides when you look at it, men's and women's. Throws for sure were a factor, and then sprints and jumps as well.
Yep. With our men's roster, we definitely have a plan with that, where we are sticking to throws, sprints, and jumps, and then committing some to like the cross country team distance guys too. And so there's definitely a plan to have it built that way. It's very purposeful. It's just kind of the path, and we don't stray from it. On the women's side, there's a little bit more scholarships, so it's a little bit more broad based. So we tried, like this weekend on the women, we had people everywhere that scored to get to that. I think we had 77 points, and so it's more broad based and kind of come at you different ways. So it's definitely two different plans, but it is purposeful.
More with Gopher head coach Matt Bingle coming up in a moment. Want to talk about one of our brand new sponsors, Great Clips, and we want to thank them for their support of the Go Gopher podcast. It's thanks to listeners like you who have made this a popular podcast. Folks like Great Clips want to come on board. Great Clips, we want to talk about online check-in. A great haircut, always something to put you in a good mood, and it's even better when it's convenient and quick, and Great Clips is the place to go for that. Online check-in is so easy. You get the app, you tap a few things, and all of a sudden you've secured your spot in line, whether you're at home, work, or wherever else. You know when it's your turn, so show up then and get in, get out, and look great. I've done this. It's awesome. It's convenient. It's great. Great Clips, great haircuts for everyone. Again, get the app, tap, and you're in line online. Great Clips. We want to thank them. Be sure to download the Great Clips app and check in online.
Know what the happiest bird is? Chicken. Cub fried chicken. Wait, let me rephrase that. Know what bird makes people happiest? Cub fried chicken. Crispy, crunchy, juicy, perfectly seasoned. It's the kind of chicken that disappears faster than you can say, 8-piece, please. Or, let's be real, maybe 12-piece. Because when it comes to fried chicken, more just means more happy. So if you're shopping chicken, shop Cub Fried Chicken and shop happy.
Hey Gopher fans, Bobby Durkin here from Minnesota Men's Basketball. In our program, championship culture is built on toughness, trust, and showing up every day to do the work. That's why I'm proud to support the True North family of companies. True North invests in elite teams, like the championship team at True North Mergers and Acquisitions, Minnesota's largest seller of companies. To learn more about True North and their family of independently owned companies, visit thetruenorthfamily.com. That's how champions are built.
Let's talk about a few individuals, certainly those that scored points and won medals. We'll go with the throws first. You had a winner in both men's and women's on the hammer. Let's start with Agalos Manzouranish, Greece, another medal for him. This is 6 straight now hammer throw Big Ten titles for you guys, and Agalos was was it his first throw, I think, right?
Yeah, it was.
That won it for him, and then his second and third throw also would have won it, I think. So he could have gold medal and silver with his 3 throws.
Yeah, so he did a great job and kind of set the tone early, like hey, come and get me mentality, and I know Coach Miller did a great job with him, but they're also kind of making some technical changes this season, and so he's kind of just starting to come now along, and I know it's been a challenge for him because he wants that big throw, and now they're starting to come, so it's exciting for him, and obviously there's a tradition with Kostas Zoltos before, who won, and then now Agalos is carrying that on, and obviously doing a good job.
Yeah, both those guys, of course, from Greece, both have been guests on this podcast. Great dudes. I'm so impressed with both those guys when they were on the show.
Yeah, great young men.
Yeah, totally. All right, Charles Godfred, let's talk about him from Nigeria. He's won 3 long jumps in a row, 26-plus feet. I say feet. I know you guys do meters, but anyway, 26-plus feet, and got another good jump off. I was watching the highlight of him, and he was getting the crowd pumped up, which I love about track and field. Even the PA announcers, and the rounding, coming into turn 4, it's almost like a horse race, and everyone, and they're talking. That's one of the beauties of track and field when you go live. But Charles was getting the crowd pumped up, and he unleashed a great jump.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable young man, has the Spirit of the Lord in him all the time, every day. He wakes up on fire, great teammate, obviously a talented young man. He also took 3rd in the 100, was the anchor leg on the 4x1 that won and broke the Big Ten record. So he had a great weekend, and everything that's happening for him, he works for and is blessed by it, and he blesses the rest of us. So he's you want your son to be just like him.
Yeah. You mentioned, or I mentioned, that you have the international flavor. So he is originally from Nigeria. How do you go find a track athlete like that? How did the connection happen?
Well, nowadays, I'm sure it's in other sports too, but there's a lot of recruiting service stuff, that's legal by NCAA standards, and so that's how we found him. And some of the other African kids we had on our team right now, currently 2 are from the same situation. So. But that's how he ended up here and came in January. I believe it was -30 the first day that he got here, wearing sandals. So he got baptized real quickly.
Yeah, how about that? No doubt. Now he knows what a Minnesota winter's about. That's for sure. 3-time Big Ten champ. You mentioned the 4x1 set the Big Ten meet record. Who are the other 3 guys on that? Relay?
That weekend it was Zion. And then it was Wanye, Bell, and then Aaron Charles and Charles.
Yeah, so they got the record, the Big Ten meet record, and scored a lot of points. And what a fun weekend that was. So it was, in essence, the hammer throw, the long jump, and then the 4x1 were your championship teams in the meet last weekend.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
And then we had some runner-ups, like with Aaron Charles in the 200, Emmett Garris, who's a Minnesota boy in the steeple. So, we had some other good things too.
Yeah. Let me real quick talk about a sponsor here. OnX Fish is one of our great sponsors. Time once again to get on the water and fish. The ice is out, of course, and the best bite to get that, you can use the OnX Fish app from OnX Maps. Everything you need to get there and get on fish in one app. Boat ramps, lake access points, public versus private land, points of interest, bait shops, camping. It's all built in. You don't need to scramble around to 3 or 4 different apps and get outdated reports. This is updated every second. You can fish new lakes as well, like they're your home waters. OnX Fish gives you proven fishing area data and local insights that have been used for many people over the years that are now on the app. You can get 10 years of knowledge in about 10 minutes. Download OnX Fish on the App Store or visit onxmaps.com/fish. Spring fishing is here. Go find the lake you've been driving past for years and finally find out if it is worth launching the boat. OnX Fish from OnX Maps. Let's talk women now. You have a thrower who scored 24 points in the meet by herself, would have finished 12th in the Big Ten just if it was her. Antoinette Nabwe, who has just been unbelievable. Number 2 all-time hammer throw in the history of women's college track and field. So another big weekend for her, and man, what a career she is putting together.
Yep, she's had a good outdoor season, good indoor season. She broke the African record as well, this season as well, and so she's only a junior. Great young lady, continues to get better, and has made a big jump, I feel like, this year in learning how to be a competitor in those championship high pressure situations. Like in the disc, came down to her 3rd attempt in the prelim to make the final. All those types of situations in the past she may have struggled with. Well, now she's starting to really step up and do a good job. And Coach Miller, again, has done a good job with her. And so just a great young lady, easy to be around, good teammate, doesn't take herself very serious. And so that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, and she had a stop in between. So she is from Africa, as you mentioned, and then was high school in North Dakota, right?
Yep.
Jamestown, I think?
Yep, in that area. And so, her family just migrated from Liberia to North Dakota, and then she's actually a high school sprinter and thrower in North Dakota. So she ran, don't quote me on it, but I think she ran around 12:20 for the 100, made the state finals. I think I'd have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure she was top 3 to 5 in the 100 in North Dakota her senior year. Yeah. So, so very explosive, powerful, and just needed time to develop.
Yeah, and when we go back and talk about the hammer throw, and really all these throws, the first of all, as you mentioned, it sets the tone because the hammer is bats leadoff basically. Yep. But there's also some nerves there, I would think, because if you fault on a couple of throws and all of a sudden it gets high pressure. I was watching some of the highlights of her and her first throw. The announcer basically said, okay, that was just an easy one to make sure she got something in play, which I think turned out to be the 3rd or 4th best throw of everybody, but it was her kind of, hey, let's make sure we get one in fair territory here. And then she was able to unleash a few more. She didn't quite break her own meet record, but she had a couple of good throws.
Yeah, no, I mean, she had a long weekend, obviously, because she had to compete every day, at a high level. But, yeah, you definitely in some situations, depending on the athlete's, mentality and situation, you can see how some kids get that throw. Hey, let's get this in make the final, and let's start ripping after that.
Yeah, and there's probably a strategy. Then I remember talking to Agalos. I think he hit a car at the Drake relays a few years ago. It was so far out of bounds, right?
Yep. I think you put it through the windshield.
Yeah, that's called the State Farm guy, I suppose.
Exactly.
To make sure that everything was covered on that. But sometimes you unleash one a little wild, right?
Yeah, that could be a good commercial.
Yeah, exactly. That would be one of the what I said. State Farm, it doesn't matter. But what's the one guy where he's getting in the car crashes, whatever I think that's Allstate, right?
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Mayhem.
Yep,
that could be a good Mayhem.
Yeah, that would
commercial,
be true.
Maybe for sure. Let's talk about. So she was first in hammer, and then second in the shot put, setting a school record, right? Finishing second, and then third in discus. So we mentioned the 24 points. She's obviously well rounded in the throwing.
Yep, she can do it all, and that 18-meter one was her 6th throw to pass, to move up, and then on her last throw to make that. So, which is great because obviously that points to the team race. So yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like she's growing into this person that, her 6th throw or the throw that she needs to have at this moment, she's starting to do that. Whereas in the past when she was younger, that was a challenge, So she's just maturing as a competitor and as a young woman, and so it's just good to see.
Yeah, so both, it seems like these throwers, hammer throw especially, obviously next week, which we'll get into a little bit, with the regional, you want to put down a good number there, but they've got national championship potential here, right?
Oh yeah, no, what they do, and I feel like Charles does, 4x1 does, so like over the next, we have the NCAA first round next week in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and then you got to survive out of that with being the top 12, and then get to that final round in Eugene. And so there's a lot of work yet to be done.
Yeah. Let's talk about some other women. You had second place in the 10,000 meter with Allie Weimer.
Yep.
And she comes probably from that long line of great cross-country runners over the years, too.
Yep. And so she's a kid from St. Michael here in Minnesota. And so, just a tough kid. That was a tough race because it got delayed because of weather. I think we were running at 11:30 at night, something like that. And so they had to warm up, stop. And so it was great because we had a lot of momentum on Friday on the women's side. We had a really good day, and so that kind of finished the day and brought a lot of momentum into day two, and so it was a great job.
Yeah, and then you can kind of just give us a little recap there with the kind of some other athletes who you felt had good weekends there on the women's side of things.
Well, I thought Zoe Dunn did a great job in the steeple. She was sick the whole weekend and kind of toughed it out. She did a great job. Obviously, she was an All-American indoors, and we have a big vision for her outdoors that we head into the NCAA championship event. I thought Jara Sao, who's our triple jumper, did a great job as well. And I think she was fourth, had a season's best. And we had some kids that were right in the hunt, like Nanto Kozo and Kube from Zimbabwe. She got here in January. She ran well. Kennedy Martinson from Coon Rapids, she ran well in the 400 hurdles, and took fourth. So there's lots of good things that were happening. And the thing about both teams, that I would say about 90% of both teams return.
Yeah.
So the future looks good.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And now let's talk about the NCAA. As you mentioned, first round or regional, whatever you call it, is next week. As we're recording this, it's Wednesday, so basically next Wednesday, right?
Yep,
A week from now, you'll be in Fayetteville for the regionals. Arkansas has a pretty good program, it looks like, on both sides. Take us through kind of your thoughts, your hopes. How many athletes will you have competing down there?
Well, we find out on Thursday because we have some bubble athletes. The top 48 in individual events and top 24 in relays go, and so we'll find out late tonight, tomorrow morning, and then that sets everything into motion. Everybody typically leaves on Monday, Tuesday morning, and then competition, like you said, starts on Wednesday. You got to be top 12 there, to get to the next round, and that's when it's a non-scoring meet next week. It's just a qualifying meet. So it's super important you're in that top 12. Obviously, it doesn't matter where, even if you're the number one ranked person, as long as you can just get through and do your job to get through and advance, then that's the most important thing. And I think with both of our programs, we want to be top 20, if not better. Our men are ranked higher and have a shot to be top 10, again this year. And so it is important that we have a good meet next week, but also we got to keep being true to who we are. Like I said earlier, we just got to keep being stupid.
Yeah. Be stupid and have fun.
Be stupid, have fun, not take ourselves too serious. Coaches and athletes alike. And so it is super important because it is a lot of pressure. And they know what's at stake, and they have a lot of team vision, but also individual vision, and so it is important to stay stupid.
Yeah, and it is in essence, this is playoffs, right? Is it like to get to next week has been a season-long deal, right? If you put even one great event out, you can make next week. But if you don't put one out next week, then it's over.
Yeah, season's over.
Whatever happened now is in the rearview mirror. So this is really playoff track and field, right?
Oh, yeah. No, this is when it starts counting, and so it's super important to kind of finish the year because we had a great Big Ten meet, and had a great season. And so we want to continue to finish well. We always talk about being great finishers, and so it's super important. One of the things we did this past weekend was Golden Tempo. That was the whole vision, of this weekend. We all watched that on Thursday night, the whole last to first mentality, and we talked about, hey, we want to be great finishers, never give up on each other, ourselves, and use every inch, because that horse used every inch on that race.
For sure. That was what a Kentucky Derby that was, for sure.
Yep.
And obviously, they're both on a track. There is some comparison, right? You got horses, you got humans, but at the end of the day, whoever runs fastest is going to win the medal.
Yep, and the kids loved it. They were screaming like crazy. They'd have no idea before that, but it was, everybody wants to watch great competition, and not give up, and so that's what we try to, be. We want to be that team, that person.
That overhead shot, though, where they're coming kind of in 3 and 4, where last and then just weaves it. That's unbelievable.
Oh yeah, I watched that thing probably 20 times, and before I decided I wanted to do it, and every time I got chills.
Yeah.
Every time. Didn't matter if I watched 3 in a row. So, I love the competitive spirit of that. That's what's great about sports.
Yeah, sports, you just never know. There's always something new that you can see every day. Real quick, you talked a little bit about that underdog mentality, and there are track programs that are in that what I would call the haves, where they got money, they've got facilities, all of that. You guys are trying to fight through some things and all kinds of stuff. So take me through just generally your State of the Union address here for Gopher track and field. Finishing second in the men, sixth in the women, obviously holding your own, contending. What do you feel? How do you feel where you're at now, and how do you feel about the future, and what has to happen to keeping your group in this contending thing for years to come?
Well, I think we got to stay, no matter what's going on, we got to stay true to our culture, stay true to our mission of who we are and who we know we are. We can't stray from that, and that's being great executors. Working hard, having fun, being strong together. Those are things that have been hallmarks of this program since forever. That, like I said earlier, Coach Lundeen, Coach Grieg, Coach Wilson, those guys established that long before me, and so we just continue it. Our staff is strong. They're all alums, majority of them, and so that's what makes us unique. I think that's what builds our culture. And then obviously, like we talked about earlier, continuing to believe that the diversity of our program on every level that you can think of is the power of our program, and when you talk about the future, like I said earlier, most of our kids return, obviously we want to retain everybody, and so and we have quite a few good recruits that are going to come in and kind of supplement that championship type of team that we're trying to build, and we're continuing to look at those things. So the future is bright. I think next year can be a great year. Obviously got to stay healthy, but we're super excited about just who we are. And, like I said, it's like a family vacation. Yes, there's always going to be challenges. We have lots of challenges. I have challenges at home just like everybody else, and so it's not much different than that, but it is something that I'm very proud of, of our staff and support staff and team just for who they are. And, like I said, trying to do the right thing. Very, very, very imperfect, obviously.
Yeah. No, just keep being stupid, right?
Yeah, exactly. That does. Sometimes being stupid can get you in trouble. Obviously, I know that. But but you do want to have that mantra, and we got to stay true to who we are no matter what track we're on, who we're going against. I always say, hey, we're ready to compete in Walmart parking lot. I don't care. Just tell me when and we'll show up.
No doubt. Hey, I've run you right up against your Zoom time. I know you got a Zoom meeting coming up, so we appreciate it. Always fun to chat. Enjoy it, and good luck next week in Fayetteville.
All right, I appreciate your time.
All right, thank you. He's head coach Matt Bingle. It's episode 221.
My thanks to Golden Gopher track and field coach Matt Bingle for another great interview on the Go Gopher Podcast, and another great season just about ready to move on into the NCAA Regionals. I hope you enjoyed listening to our conversation as much as I enjoyed being a part of it. Episode 221 is presented by Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're buying or selling a business, visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com. Cub is a proud supporter of Gopher Athletics for over 20 years and a proud sponsor of the Go Gopher Podcast. Cub, bigger savings on the items you love. Shop happy. Great Clips is brand new to the podcast, and we want to once again thank them for supporting the Go Gopher Podcast with Mike Grimm. Get in, get out, look great with Great Clips. OnX Fish also sponsors our show. Happy fishing from OnX Maps. Again, I'd invite you to listen to past podcasts, and please right now, be sure to click that subscribe or follow button to the Go Gopher Podcast. It's free to follow, free to subscribe, and free to listen at any time. And please share the link to the podcast with others so they can subscribe and listen as well. And if you enjoyed the show, please let us know with some positive feedback on your social media channels. We'll talk again next week.
Know what happy is? Veggies. Crunchy, crispy, colorful, seasonal, aromatic, juicy veggies. Produce at its freshest. Cub produce. Best produce, period. Guaranteed to make you happy or will replace it. No questions asked. Because good produce makes veggie lovers happy. Just remember, fresh, happy. Stale, limp, and wilted, not happy. You want to make a veggie lover happy? Shop Cub for produce and shop happy.